Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about sterile technique, and there's a few things you have to remember, and that is that anytime you have bacterial growth medium, either in a liquid or a solid form, and you do something stupid like open the lid and touch the agar surface, or talk at it, or leave it open, or do anything that you could potentially contaminate this, you're asking for trouble. So you've got to maintain sterility as much as possible. That's what sterile technique is all about. This is why people get sick in hospitals. Things aren't clean and sterile. They pass an organism to another person. People get sick and die. So sterile technique is actually very serious business. So for example, if this was a liquid vial containing some medium you wanted to maintain sterility of, you don't sit there and open this and touch the lid or talk excessively over it or do anything that could potentially introduce organisms. You have to think about what you're doing and realize once you open that, all bets are off. You have to work quickly, you have to work efficiently, and you have to make sure you're not going to contaminate this. One way that we do that with liquids is we do what's called, when we're going to transfer a liquid, we flame the lip of the glass. So in this case, we'll turn on our Bunsen burner here, and if I was going to transfer this from one vial to another, for instance, I would take off this lid, and instead of setting it on the table, I would just leave it between my two fingers like so, and do all my manipulations with the rest of my hand. So if this was sterile, I take this off. I would then take this, pass through the flame just once, twice, that's all you need. I would do my manipulation I need to do, and before I put the top back on, I'd flame it again, replace the lid. That way you maintain sterility in this vial, and everything here should be in very good shape. Okay, so that's how liquids, what you would do with liquids. If you want to use sterile techniques and plate streaking on a new plate, there's a couple things you need to do. One is you got to find your agar plate that has organisms you want to transfer, and you take your new plate that you're going to transfer to, and you label it. You always label plates on the bottom, usually what the medium is, the date, what the organism is, and your name, so to identify it, but always on the bottom, never on the lid. Because when the lid gets lost, you're in trouble. The bottom is always stuck with the agar, so you'll always maintain that. Okay? To transfer an organism from one plate to another, this streaking technique, I'll just demonstrate one way you do that. You use what's called an inoculating loop, and all this is, if you can see it too well, it's just basically a piece of nichrome wire that is that can be heated up and sterilized. So right now, it's not sterile at all, especially now that I just touched it. What you do is you take this and you put it into the flame until you get an orange glow on this loop. Trust me, it's an orange glow. It's very hot, it's very sterile. You take your plate with your organisms you want to transfer, you open the lid carefully so that you don't introduce organisms that you don't want on here. You bring this hot loop in and you cool it on an area of the agar where there's no organism. Take a little piece of organism, literally just a tiny bit. You don't need to have a huge ice cream scoop amount. Open your other piece, your other lid with your fresh agar, and you just very gently touch the surface of the agar and spread it back and forth. Close your lid, flame the loop again. Open the lid again, cool the loop in the center, go back to where you'd finished streaking, and pull those streaks to another area of the plate. Close the lid, flame it, cool it, go to another area where you ended, drag your streaks over, and so on until you've moved this around to multiple quadrants. All you're doing is diluting your sample so that at some point you'll end up with single isolated colonies. That's the goal of this exercise. And if this works for you, it takes a little practice, but you're going to get 5 points for this next time. Turn in a plate to me that has pure, so only one thing in it, and well-isolated colonies. That's the goal.